Oddworld Abe's Exoddus is considered by many to be the greatest game in the Oddworld franchise. Today, 17th November 2018, marks 20 years since Abe's Exoddus was released, and even to this day, it will regularly be seen topping practically every "what is the best Oddworld game" poll I've ever seen by a massive majority. Not everyone thinks this, of course, but it just seems to be the general consensus among the Oddworld community. It's amazing that a sequel that was created in 8 months is considered by far to be the best game in a relatively well-known franchise even 2 decades after being released. While Oddworld Abe's Oddysee is perhaps the most famous and successful game in the series, kicking off the franchise and winning over 100 awards, and is seen in high regard by both mainstream folks and dedicated Oddworld fans alike, Abe's Exoddus seems to be the one that tends to take the cake among those that are deeply interested in Oddworld even now. So why is Oddworld Abe's Exoddus so massively popular in the Oddworld community? Well, I think there's a few reasons for it. It unintentionally did something that is almost a sure indicator of success. It directly improved on something already great. I say unintentionally because Lorne Lanning had intended Oddworld Inhabitants to make Oddworld Munch's Oddysee after Oddworld Abe's Oddysee, but the publishers and big companies wanted a sequel out before the next Christmas after the hit success of Abe's Oddysee. That gave them just 9 months to do it, but they ended up doing it in 8. But this forced Oddworld Inhabitants to improvise slightly. Instead of doing the fully fledged Munch's Oddysee from the ground up, as had presumably been the intention, they took what they had, which was already a smash hit game, an icon of the PlayStation 1, and made it even better. They took the same excellent gameplay that had made Oddworld Abe's Oddysee so unique, took the very few criticisms that it received and fixed it for Abe's Exoddus. This mainly being the introduction of the quick save feature, a well-known staple of every Oddworld game thereafter, to deal with the frustration caused by the checkpoints of Abe's Oddysee, as well as the expansion of GameSpeak to include the Alia command, and of course the eradication of bats as an enemy. They did that, as well as expanded on the world created by Abe's Oddysee, introducing new places such as Soulstorm Brewery, Necro Mines and Fico Depot, as well as including many new enemies, such as greeters and fleechers, as well as variants of existing enemies such as flying sligs, crawling sligs and sloggies. The gameplay was also improved massively with new abilities such as possessing scrubs, paramites and gluckons for the first time, and of course your own farts, but you get the idea of what I'm saying here. They took the brilliance they'd initially created, fixed the problems with it and expanded it to create a much longer, in-depth and richer game. It's no wonder 20 years later that Oddworld Soulstorm, a reimagining of Oddworld Abe's Exoddus, a project Lorne Lanning says is what Exoddus, an absolutely fantastic game, should have been, is probably the most anticipated Oddworld game ever. And that's saying something, because pretty much every Oddworld game already has greater anticipation than your average game would. It's pretty well documented that Oddworld Inhabitants are taking their time with Oddworld Soulstorm, having delayed it by 2 years since its initial release date of 2017. So it makes you wonder, if Oddworld Inhabitants created the masterpiece of Oddworld Abe's Exoddus in 8 months, what can they do when they try to make what that game should have been with better technology and without being rushed? It is clear that 2 decades after its release, the legacy of Oddworld Abe's Exoddus lives on.
Hello, follow me. Yo.